And we're going in and in and in into week number 2 here at the LPL. Week 1 was such a blast, showing us that our middle tier teams are not what they seem, and that this LPL split is going to be closer than ever. At OMG's home arena in Chengdu, we got exactly that. Hello and welcome back. My name's Jake Asteric Sozipenko, joined by Barento Raz Muhammad to find out if these middle tier teams will continue growing.
See, you said the first bad word of tonight.
Oh, did I?
Middle tier teams. Because I have no idea currently. Remember going into the season, I had placed 2 teams, both Vici and OMG, at the bottom of my ranking in terms of like what expectations going into the year. And then they just started doing so well. Wait a second. I thought both those teams, while they didn't come out with a victory, you can already see in the standings, like, they still look good though. It was OMG that went up against Invictus Gaming, and Invictus Gaming coming in 2-0 so far in the split. They looked damn good with their new players.
I remember it was only 1 week. OMG and a team like Invictus Gaming FPX and Suning playing 2 series. A lot of these have only played 1.
Yeah, and remember too the series to watch for in week 1. First one was the first series of the year, which was IG versus TOP. IG comes out ahead on that one. And then just yesterday was RNG versus Suning. RNG comes out with a loss, Suning the victory, and I think the major storyline for that one was the fact that Tienza started out alongside Wink.
Yeah, we were questioning a lot with RNG in their top lane, but that is only week 1 again. We move into the second week, and before we can kind of move forward with today's matchups, before we can go forward into week number 2, we have to look at Best of the Rift for week number 1, Raz.
That's true. Best of the Rift, that one's always fun to watch. I remember, like, throughout the entirety of last year, we got a sneak peek of statistically who were the top-notch players for the week. For this one, it's going to be Duke for the top lane. I mean, he came in alongside Ning very strong for the 2 series that they played. The Shy only came in for 1 of the 4 games. I thought Duke was strong. Came in as strong as he was during Worlds and Summer Split, so that's a big positive.
You remember at Worlds as well, it was the Aatrox that defined this top lane carry, and once again, the start of the LPL is what he played to bring up most of those stats.
And then going on to Ning, engage stat, big. For people who want to, like, trying to figure out what does that mean,
tell me.
Engage stat for this stat specifically is just major engages, who starts off the team fight, major team fights for his team. Number 1 is going to be Ning, per game that is. So 1 incredible engage per game. Remember, the 2 champions that he's played, most played so far this split is Zach. So it made a lot of sense in how he was able to start off and really end the team fights for his squad.
Ning, are you going in? Are you going in? Yes. The answer was always yes. Moving forward to Yigao, though, one of the Dumpling brothers, and of course, Best of the Rift, because for Jingdong is very crucial towards that victory.
Yeah, 2 members. Remember, 2 new members coming in from the jungle and AD carry. AD carry Imp, people didn't know. And also they're rotating between Flawless and Levi as well. So Yagao has to come into this as a leader, and I think he did just that. They slipped up a little bit, losing their first game in the series versus Rogue Warriors, but they came back strong off the back of him.
I'm questioning a lot with Levi, but you got to move on to the super team, and of course in the second and first position, that bottom lane duo, which just styled all over the Rift.
Yeah, I really love seeing them play. A lot of question marks based off of their Demacia Cup performance. Hell, even their first game when they went up against Vici Gaming, it was a big surprise in how essentially they were always on the back foot, but they came in stronger. Game 2, Game 3 answered back, and then if you were watching yesterday's series versus RNG, it was solely their laning phase performance that got them their early game victories. So really excited to see them and how they grow going forward.
I'm excited to watch more of Suning. That's my week 1 take after seeing that super team develop and grow towards playoffs. Raz, what is your kind of take from week 1, and what team have you got your eyes on?
So I think my I'm getting confirmations on my first take of Suning. I think Suning are coming in much stronger, second best based off of RNG's current performance. But then also just the new players. We have so many new players coming in from the LDL, just rounding out these lineups. Like Rogue Warriors, even though there are new expectations for them, Zhang Wuji is immediately the name that you look towards. Ala, who we'll be seeing, the new top laner for OMG, is now an insane prospect. We're looking at WE, and they're just coming in with all of these new players that were formerly of Moss 7 Club, all these teams that you don't know, players you don't know, but now you have to perk up your ears because, quite honestly, like, they're starting to take names.
To reiterate with those new additions to the teams as well, that's why we don't know middle of the pack, bottom of the pack right now.
Yes.
It is a mystery in the LPL. Hopefully today's matchups can clarify that just a bit further. We are looking at some real no-brainers here. That's what we used to say in 2018, but now everything's changed and everything's up for grabs.
And here's the stable lineups. Invictus Gaming going up against Rogue Warriors. IG World Champions coming in just as strong as we last saw them at Worlds. So going up against Rogue Warriors, easy favorites on that one. It just really comes down to how the individual of Rogue Warriors start to pick up the early game.
So maybe that one will be staple, but OMG and BLG, that's our very first series, and a lot has changed in both these rosters. We were talking so much about BLG last week due to their win over LGD, and you have to say that this BLG, this is serious playoff contentions.
Because the major questions for me was one of those new players I was referring to, which is Meteor, right? Meteor, how is he going to link into the new team that is centralized around Kuro, former Afrika Freaks player, and it was just all about the team fights. Like, a lot of the team fights were so crucial for them because they started out slow, as we would expect them. One kill game in what was already a 15-minute of play, and it's just slowly playing it out. Keep your eyes on how Kuro started off, 3-man taunt, and then how Meteor really ended it. So these are the, the duo that I'd want to really focus in on, hone in on for this one, and in the first series that they were able to play, nailed it.
When Meteor was the rookie into this squad, would he crumble? He did not. The famous table tennis player came up clutch, and you have to see from just this play alone that BLG had the potential to surprise and kind of pull their opponents out of expectations away.
People are always focusing on who's going to be their key engage player. You already saw the Galio priority. We didn't get to see too much Galio priority in the first few days of the LPL. It was BLG saying, yeah, why not? Like, our team fight's going to be our primary focus, and our true carry player is going to be Meteor to follow up on that. So I like to see that, seeing the young gun come alongside what was an aggressive, also just a standard player in Kuro.
Because Kuro is our import in that team as well as ADD in the top lane, but we're looking more at Ale in this matchup from OMG. Now, if you want to pull out someone who's fresh to the Rift and wants to make a name for himself, this is your guy.
Remember, all of these stats, specifically CS difference at 15, don't look good to him just because he went up against Invictus Gaming. That was their first series that they played. Really just focus in on the solo kills because he got 4 of them up against both Duke and the Shy. He was a monster. So just take a look at this, because immediately, I know this one is a little bit not as impressive because it was just OMG as a team rounding around him. So it was Icon coming in from the mid lane along with Best 16. But this was the second time around. He actually got solo kills under tower alone. And then when it came up to game 2, they took Duke, put him on the bench, put in the Shy, said, okay, play for us. He actually doubled down on this one.
And the Shy is confident as he always is. He's a world champion. He walks into Ale and he's like, yeah, I can take this. And Ale, being the rookie, says, no, it's my turn to shine. And
the worst thing about dealing with a Jax player, you lose that first kill. He's going to pick up Sheen. He already has Conquerors, and he's just going to, it's just a snowball at that point. So it had to be IG as a squad. Ning and Rookie just triple teaming him under tower to stop that a snowball from going forward.
And if you can do that against Duke and the Shy, you now put up in the top lane ADD, and you're saying, what can BLG achieve here against someone who's confident after last week?
And just moving away from the stats once again, because ADD's stats look good. It was up against their snowballing composition that they had against LGD, so that's natural. But he looked good too. He passed the eye test. He played up Kled. His Kled engages were on point. A lot of the times when he didn't have much to do on the top side of the map, he rolled around mid. So let's just look at this team.
Well, it's ADD, it's Meteor. Remember, famous table tennis player, if you haven't heard. Kuro in the mid lane, over from Korea, Jin Zhao, and Mini in the bottom lane.
Mini's the rookie. He's the new support, new fresh-faced Chinese player coming in alongside Jin Zhao. Jin Zhao is far more used to playing alongside the more aggressive leader in Road, so he's going to be the one that's leading the lane.
OMG, it's Ale top lane, best 16 in the jungle, Icon mid, and Chelly and 5, your standard bottom lane for OMG.
I really want to see what the new OMG looks like, because in the past it was just the Icon show. If Icon didn't show up, they lose those series. In fact, they lost them anyways. It just looked bad. But now, bring in Ale, a lot of the teams wanted to see Ale, wanted to pick him up for their own squad, but they got their first shot. Now I want to see what Ale can do double teaming with Icon.
It's quite refreshing to look at the top lane matchup, but we do not forget about Icon. He is the veteran in the LPL, the veteran in this team, and although it might not be fully his show anymore, he's still taking a spotlight.
He's still calling the shots, and that's what's important. Alongside 5, he's the one that just says go. So what we last saw from this team when they went up against Invictus Gaming, and there were some great skirmishes, it was him saying, you know what, best 16, sacrifice yourself. I'm going to be huffing it from the bottom lane straight to mid. Those kind of plays are what you really love to see out of OMG. Just essentially, Icon calling the shots from across the map.
Well, Kuro is the matchup, and again, both of these players have very different styles. Kuro, coming over from Korea, has had to adapt in this mid lane, and into the LPL, it's a very vast different playstyle.
Look, it's a jacked, I would say, lineup. If you're going into the LPL and you're just looking across the mid lane pools, even our worst teams have some outstanding mid lane players. So he has to really showcase something different. I think what he's coming in with is just great team play and a real focus on team fighting, what we saw up against LGD. So if he's able to work alongside their rookie in Meteor, play a great 2v2 in controlling his mid lane, and then just hammer through those team fights, excellent. There's not a lot of teams that have been prioritizing what I think to be a broken Galio. So if he continues to prioritize it, it's actually going to be insanely difficult for OMG, a team that really focuses on picks and just like these solo kills and assassination attempts. Like, that's something that OMG has really prided on in the previous seasons. If they try to do that against a Galio, they're going to have a tough time.
Because it's pretty standard right here. Icon, you know what he plays into the mid lane. It was the Jace pick that defined him against Invictus Gaming. And if we see that assassin style again for Kuro, he'll say, well, right into my hands. Thank you very much. But with BLG, with OMG, the top side of the map seems to be our focus. It is going to be. It's a rookie versus someone who's been in Korea for a couple of years, but has avoided the MVP scandal.
What I really like about ADD is the fact that he's found a way to put his own flavor into what was a very stock standard league, right? Right now, you're getting a lot of crazy top laners in the LCK, so that's wonderful. But at the time, ADD was that crazy top laner.
He was.
He was someone who always came in with something new. Sion when no one was playing Sion. Or like, just had his Rumble picks. He always had that flavor that a lot of top laners were just really annoyed playing up against. Now he's home, basically. Like, home away from home, he comes to China, and he has to go up against, let's say, Snake as a great example, against Flandre, who's exactly that same style.
Yeah.
I think he's right at home. Immediately, his first series, picking up the Kled and able to just charge in and have Galio support him. I think it's going to be really fun to see how ADD works in the LPL.
So many teams have had their defining matchup where they enter the LPL and they're like, all right, this is what type of team we're going to be.
Yes.
BLG said exactly that with the Kled top lane. You put the Galio in the mix there as well. So some of these picks coming into our first game may just define BLG that little bit more.
That's why I like seeing that balance, because you don't want to see a team be too passive. That was the old BLG that was an issue. Road was fine. He was a good engaged player, but a lot of the times those would come in later on in the game, 30 minutes perhaps, because they had either Athena and Amazing J and Jinzhao, so they were really focused on like late game team fighting. So when the meta didn't favor them, when it was snowballing based on the early game, they had a real identity issue. ADD and Meteor are two players that are very focused on the early game. So I think that balance being in a play, while Kuro can just say, well, don't worry about me, my laning phase is fine, and our team fights later on, because he's not just a Galio player, even though he really prioritized that. I think his Syndra is a really good pickup, and I want to be able to see him play it today.
We haven't talked too much about the bottom lane, though, and as to expect in this meta, it's either your favorite or you don't. But running into game number 1 for BLG, we know where the strengths lie, and OMG, they've got their star power roster. You still look at Icon, you still look at this star-studded lineup, and game 1 upon us now. We'll see if those stars can shine even brighter with standard bans across the board.
Yeah, 2 stars to be exact, and that's Ale and Icon. So for BLG to immediately ban the 3 picks that are shared between the 2 of them Makes a lot of sense. Very smart from BLG so far.
Yeah, it's a bit of a wink-wink as the Jacks are still available. We're a bit far off from that to start things off as a priority pick, with Camille banned off first by OMG, Urgot stock standard.
Just think of how difficult it is to pick Jax here, though, because for Urgot to be picked up, you'd expect ADD to, have it for himself. He would already have a stronger laning phase if he's going Urgot into Jax. I don't see it being picked up unless if OMG are going to go all in into supporting it.
Not just yet. It's the jungle pick, though, for best 16, moving away from Gragas last week and into Sejuani.
Remember, Galio's still available, so OMG recognizes that Galio is going to be the pick. That is just a lock-in. I thought they were going to at least hover that a little bit longer.
No way.
Literally, Icon's like, why not? Do it. Yasuo versus Galio if you're ready.
It's only Kuro, who cares? Yasuo just dropped down like the meteor he is.
But remember, Chelly plays that too. Chelly has played that in the past. So even though you lock it in and the other team has to say, well, maybe, 80% it's going to be Icon. But there's that back of the mind of saying, oh, we can't just lock in our Galio or lock in our bottom lane immediately. They've already technically done that, given us the Kai'Sa, but I'm happy now if I'm OMG, and my intent is to have Yasuo in the bottom lane going up against that Kai'Sa.
And maybe going up against something in the mid lane if it is Icon on the Yasuo, and that's something the Vladimir smashed down.
You know what? I think they played into that trap. I think they expected that to be a Yasuo mid. I'm going to put the chips down and say that's a Yasuo bottom lane for Chelly. We've been seeing a lot of, different picks there. Cassio, if she's available, has not been banned away consistently. We've seen Victor in the bottom lane pretty consistently. It makes sense that Yasuo would be that next pick. There should be a few knockups, so I'm just looking here, and Alistar is still available. I think BLG should end up banning that.
But I think OMG have just played some weird draft phase. It was Fiora that they locked in again. There are two big damage threats on the side of OMG, and now ban away the bottom lane. Let's get set up.
I'm concerned for Ale because I like Vladimir into the Fiora as the lane goes on and where he can go back, pick up an item. And I like Urgot into that lane, to be honest. I think if I'm just looking at how this plays out just from front to back in the laning phase, I'm expecting Ale to get some support if that's going to be a Fiora top lane.
At the moment, it seems like it is, as bottom side focus bans are now hitting down. Morgana there, Nico, which we haven't seen yet on the LPL.
Just remember, last season, Icon picked up the Fiora into the Galio pick. That was his option there too. So it just seems like OMG is saying, we have so many flexes just based off of Yasuo and the Fiora alone. We're just trying to bait out BLG to pick up a Galio. They didn't even ban it in second phase. That's how they're playing out this game one.
There's openings there for OMG. The Galio left and rested. And BLG are just like, all right, let's just focus bottom lane. I'm assuming that's a Nico ADC.
I say that quite a bit, but for Vladimir and Urgot being locked in alongside Kai'Sa, it seems like that's not even going to be an option for the Galio to come in. So I just really want to see what... There we go. That's a Zoe mid lane. Makes it very easy. But that's going to be a Yasuo for Chelly.
Spicing things up on the Rift once again. If you can't take Cassiopeia bottom, no worries. We'll just take Yasuo. Now for BLG, they have that information. They can play around this a little bit more. And for something like the Leona, the lockdown onto Chelly, maybe that's the viable option here in this draft.
I just want to see what OMG would pick up for their support. I'm expecting Braum as a great example. It does have a knock-up if you want to use his ultimate for that matter for an engage rather than that disengage. Also works really well in tandem with the Sejuani. I think OMG would have a great composition, triple threat, and then two great tanks if the Braum is that lock-in.
The front line good enough there from best 16. 5 has multiple picks, but with the Alistar already taken away, as you said, Braum seems to be the go-to. Xin Zhao at the moment seen massive amounts of play in the LCK for a very good reason, and should I say LPL, with Hail of Blades to the mix.
Yeah, and I think he's just great skirmishing. Remember, a good matchup against the Sejuani, and he doesn't have to worry about hard engage because he has the Leona. If you look at BLG's complete composition so far, it's just damage, a little bit of pick. If you're talking about just like how Xin Zhao works here. And then you just have the hard engage that Mini's going to bring with the Leona, so you'd expect Mini to be roaming a little bit more often, not going to be sticking in lane with the Kai'Sa as frequently if BLG has control early.
BLG, they had to read this draft phase one step ahead, and in the end, it feels like they rounded out nicely. But even more so, OMG, still changing things around. You expect that to be a Gragas bot, right?
Nah, it looks like it's going to be Sejuani support. Woo! I've been hearing some whisperings about like how scrims have gone. 2 picks that are coming into the support position have been Lissandra and the Sejuani. We saw Mako actually pick up against Snake, the Lissandra support. And then I've heard about Sejuani because remember how the rune stats have actually shored up. This is going to be a really fun discussion to have because not only does Sejuani get just raw damage buffs, but on top of that, with now the ability to pick up 20 AP on the rune stats, but then not just get the the HP if you're going Aftershock, you can just do a lot of damage in your all-in trades while still having the raw resistances that Aftershock gives you, that provides. So it's going to be fun. Also, just a nice knock-up if you're just talking about the Q.
Yeah.
Good way for Yasuo to go in. So it just looks like OMG wants to find focus early on in the game, post-6, to the bottom lane. Once it comes post-6 time, we're going to be seeing the Gragas come to the bottom lane, knock up heaven there, and it's going to be Kai'Sa that's going to be on the back foot.
If that Leona cannot stop at least one of those ultimates, at least one of those engages, there is going to be severe problems here for Bilibili Gaming. But OMG saving their picks till the last moment. And with the Sejuani flex down into the support position, Best 16 once again sits on his akin Gragas. This is the time where you say, with this draft, how do these teams develop? How does this series start off? Because we're looking at rankings and it's very similar.
And we're also just looking at Kuro. To be honest, to be blunt, we're looking at Kuro because he's picked up the Vladimir. I want to see how he responds to that aggressive early game play because usually Vladimir, seeing that, has 2 options. He can either go Ghost or Teleport. Maybe he just goes Spellbook. That might be necessary. But if I'm talking about Ghost early, if he gets pushed in, he has to be thinking in the back of his mind how to play it out defensively to support Jin Zhao and Mini. If he has Teleport, it's an easy button press. So I just want to see how active he is on the map in being able to help out his bottom lane really early on.
As the mid lane superstars go head-to-head here in Game 1, we jump onto Summoner's Rift of OMG and BLG to start us off.
And don't you forget, we're in Chengdu tonight.
That makes sense.
So OMG is going to have the louder audience. When I first came into the grand opening to Chengdu, watching out how passionate the fans were. Remember, this was back when it was OMG versus Suning. Suning had a lot of fans in that day, or at least at that time, but not in the OMG's venue. OMG has some great fans that will back them up and pack that stadium. So makes a lot of sense. A lot of their people in the fans right now backing OMG.
One of the oldest organizations in the LPL, actually, when you put them up against a team like Bilibili Gaming with these other teams like Rogue Warriors. Start here is blue for Best 16 though. Now, it's not often that you see a Gragas start on the blue side, but he's taking Electrocute in this game rather than Predator.
So the fact that both junglers are starting bot side, that's going to be really worrying for Best 16 because he doesn't want to match and meet Meteor early on. He's going to be in a really bad position if that's the case. That's why I want to see if he does for a full clear. Already on Grump. There we go. He's going for the Scuttle Crab. He should meet Xin Zhao depending on how fast Jin gets to the Scuttle Crab. Here he comes.
He's walking up. He'll be spotted out by a ward. But Scuttle Crab's already taken.
Nice.
Quick move there from OMG's jungler.
Yeah, really fast. It takes some time to completely clear out Scuttle Crab. The Krugs. Few people just forego the small ones just because they don't give as much gold and experience at all. But he clears it out completely, comes and notices that it's gone. So he at least has one inkling that's saying, hey, you know what? Best 16's matching me. If that's the case, I'm going to go to the top side Scuttle, immediately take that one, and he might even go for an invade. If I'm the Xin Zhao, completely say, I don't care about these lanes. Go for your Raptors or red buff, because you have a good idea that Gragas is going to be that top side.
Yeah, because Meteor's already hit level 3, and level 3 Xin Zhao at the moment with Hail of Blades is absolutely insane. So Raptors being taken, he does back off instead, and BLG's jungler taking the safer path through his own jungle.
Interesting to see presence of mind there for 5. The fact that he's confident enough that the team fight's working out, they've got a kill, he can rejuvenate, a lot of mana in that, so it's a snowballing function, much like how Triumph works.
Yep.
So we'll have to see if that is beneficial at all. I mean, personally, I'm just a fan of Triumph. I think you should just take it every time, especially for tank.
Absolutely, just so easy to play out these laning phases. For 5, Ignite on the Sejuani support with Exhaust on Chelly. Not expecting the double Ignite, of course not, or even the heal, but double Relic in the bottom lane.
Yeah, so they just get so much sustain. They know they're going up against a bit of poke, just dealing with a natural AD carry with range. So having the extra gold that's provided to the Sejuani is going to be nice, but here comes a gank.
This is a big task for the rookie in the top lane. Fiora can't 1v2 just yet. Will not get the proc here on the weakness. Hail, 1, 2, 3. There's Hail of Blades again underneath the turret. Repels one, repels the other, dodges away. Good escape.
But I thought that was really well done from BLG, trying to nail it so when Xin Zhao's on his 3rd strike, they can still bypass the riposte. She still holds on to it pretty late, so she gets out of it. Has to blow the flash, though. She's going to use teleport as well. Here comes a new fight.
That was an interesting Zenith Blade from Mini. He has to flash and stun up with the shield. Flash forward again from Kai'Sa. Knocks it down. BLG's movement is swift.
Yeah, really well done. Covering for the invade. They knew that Xin Zhao was nowhere near the bottom lane, but these lane shoves, especially from BLG's bottom lane, allowed them to come in, help out, take down Gragas, while still being able to pick up this massive bottom lane wave.
And imagine if you give Kai'Sa first blood here in game 1. Bilibili gaming their bottom lane against the Yasuo Sejuani. This is the perfect start for them.
And this answers my first question immediately. And I guess I can at least talk about it now that we're moving into a pause. So I talked about Xin Zhao and can he lead the lane without Road? Road moving on to Victory 5. My question was that because Xin Zhao is more of a follower. Even in the interviews that he's had, he's always talked about Road leading the lane and following what the team wants for compositions. The first compositional question's like, hey, you know, we're not in an AD carry meta anymore. Do you want to play mages? He said that he played mages, but the team wants him to play AD carries to fit their style. So he's more of a, I'll focus on my mechanics rather than having a voice of my own. He needs to have that voice now that he had Mini on. That being said, that the fact that they roamed in, got the first kill on Gragas, I wonder who made that call. I would have to expect that it would be the veteran in Xin Zhao in that instance.
And OMG's top lane after being pressured, there's 2 big wins there. Someone was burnt on Ale early. And on the Fiora, I mean, that's tough, especially since against the Urgot matchup, you can take that gap close. You can actually win that matchup quite easily before 6.
Yeah, and then it just turns into a question about 2v2. Because going into the game, I thought it was going to have to be about 2v2 for Gragas to come in and help out that matchup.
Yep.
But suddenly, Xin Zhao knows where you are. He knows where the Gragas has been pathing. Already killed him. I mean, that's already been answered, right? So the fact that Gragas had matched him with the level 1, going from bot side to top side, and Xin Zhao was able to get an easy kill top side, it's so clear for the team to say, protect my Raptors. I know that he's here. So then, that is like a domino effect. Bottom lane's hurting, jungle's hurting, meaning top lane is going to have continued struggles knowing that she's going to have to play under tower for quite some time. And guess what happens? From that point forward, if Kuro has a good laning phase, if then Xin Zhao comes mid, gives him a shove, so all he has is shove advantage. Then they can just go top 3-man. I don't think Fiora will have a good time for the rest of the game based off that alone. It should be a simple blueprint here for BLG.
Unless there can be some exposing from best 16 though.
That's true.
Very different story if Gragas can make his way up. There was topside pressure at one point. There was matching of the Scuttle Crabs like we talked about a little bit earlier. But the heads-up play here from BLG. You have to expect, again, that BLG is a brand new team. A lot more topside focus here. A lot more focus on the map rather than before. We're just waiting for those fights to come through at the 20-30 minute mark.
You're right about that. I think BLG, if we're talking about what their identity in the past, it was about supporting Mole or Amazing J, just getting those 2 players ahead. And sometimes they would do that by any means necessary. Have Rhodes, roam from the bottom lane straight to the top lane. Try and get some crazy, Bard, Alistar, just something nonsensical where they're like, yeah, we're just going to press the go button. Now it's a little bit more calm. More calm in the sense that it's still technically mid and top lane, but to a degree that the jungler is way more influential in getting that job done. And I think that Mini, a new voice for the team, we already saw the Leona pick. Remember, we only saw them play that one series versus LGD. This could be a new aspect of how to free Xin Zhao in the bottom lane. So there's so many question marks that are currently being answered here. I just want to see if there's some discipline to see it cleanly follow through for one game to, let's say, a second game win.
You're hoping, because this will give us a better idea of how BLG will go forward. No longer is this a team that'll struggle up until that point, but more calm, more collected, as we were talking about. Against a team like OMG, they want to make you suffer. It's the star power roster. And Icon in the mid lane, he was always our focus, but now it feels like there needs to be just that extra layer from Chelly and Five, considering what just happened.
Yeah, and remember, when we're talking about star power, it's completely different to, let's say, a team like RNG and Invictus Gaming that just have stars in every role. It's specifically an Icon, and this year it's also Ale. So I want to see if those two players can really hold that burden on their shoulders. Chelly has had moments, but not enough to really have full focus to say, you know, this game it's on you. They've given him Yasuo, so maybe he can do it. I think that if there's any time to show the audience that you're a reliable AD carrier you can back and pull resources into, it's going to be off of a Yasuo game. So we'll have to see if he's going to showcase it tonight. Well,
we are back into game after a brief pause, and for OMG, now after that bottom side scuffle, the scuttle does drop down, and more deep vision into Bilibili's red side jungle after what was a brief interaction. Meteor back up top. Ale will get the proc down, repels again, but ADD just flips him back down. Ale does not have flash, and he drops down once again.
Welcome to the LPL. He queued in, didn't have flash as you already had mentioned, and Meteor is just going to just zero in on you. We already talked about how this lane is tough already. He lost his sums, and take a look where Gragas was, nowhere near you. You have to play that one passively. You have to play to your tower. He didn't, he loses his life.
And investing in the Cull, that's going to be an issue here for Ale. To get near that wave becomes even more difficult. He burnt the summoner in the last engage, and this time around he drops his life. The kill going over to Meteor.
Look, the sad fact of that is he already had the Cull. That was when he teleported into the lane. Now he just has the longsword. His back time is going to be bad. So you're right in the one thing that we have to look forward to is going to be best 16 to start something up. I think a mid lane gank is overdue. It just really depends on if Icon could get a good Sleepy Trouble Bubble. If that's an option, then maybe they can use that and pull it towards the bottom lane. Right now they're level 5. I mean, bottom lane is doing pretty well for themselves, so close to that level 6 mark that we're looking for.
Yeah, Icon has a bit of a CS lead, but picks up the blue buff. Will be able to push this wave out against Kuro. Has a bit of a double ignite situation going on as Zoe does pre-6.
It's always fun, isn't it?
Annoyingly enough, yeah.
At least it's not Proto Bell to Redemption. I'm happy with that.
Oh, it'll be the Hex deck host soon, don't you worry.
Oh, nice.
And it's always painful to see. Pushing up in the bottom lane. This is going to be Jin Jiao's lane for now, and Meteor knows that. He's hit 6-2. So any engage is going to be a dead Sejuani or Yasuo.
And if you have pressure and you're consistently pushing out a lane for this long, I mean, it's been 7 minutes into the game already, and Jin Jiao and Mini really hasn't had that much lane control. I would say no, actually, Chelly and Five hasn't had that much lane control, just raw lane control. No lane bushes. I mean, wards in lane bushes. So you could already see Meteor just walking in there. That's immediately a gank opportunity now. We've seen that from Ning in Invictus Gaming, using that pretty consistently, especially in the top lane. I think Meteor, if he wants to find a gank, it's something like this you're seeing best 16s looking for. Raw lane gank, you can get wave control pushing back into you. You see that one minion that's holding it up right now, that wave up top? Really well done here from Ale. What the hell are you doing?
Oh no, okay, so it is a visual bug until now.
What's the truth?
Explosive gas body slam. ADD, that is the truth eventually, with Fear Beyond Death put onto best 16. Ignite won't tick him over, and the grand challenge gives L enough health to live.
That is the greatest visual bug I have ever seen. I watched the LEC, it's happened. I watched the LCK, it happens. It's just you never know if the man is sitting in the bush, or if he just walked out willy-nilly. What the hell was that?
More about mind games there for the Gragas jungle. Eventually OMG get a reply, and as we talked about in the break, maybe hold that thought as Five gets caught down. Mini, Permafrost range is deducted, so he'll just stand there and walk away.
Anyone that watches or plays, I guess I should say, Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
Imagine that to just be Sephiroth's ghost just like whisking away. You're like, is that really him? I'm like, who is that really? What am I looking at?
Oh man.
Just throwing that out there.
I think we've seen enough over the past week to kind of indicate that these visual bugs happen, as you said, anytime, anywhere. Hey, Raz, I want to point one thing out before we continue forward, is that with that lane balancing, Ale, is actually in a comfortable position again. He picked up that kill and was able to go back and get a teammate.
That's really nice. The only thing that I don't like about a Tiamat if you're behind in a matchup is that it just doesn't give you the lane, I guess, lane control and the, how the minions are rolling out. Thankfully, he's going up against an Urgot, so Urgot just, if he's trying to trade, he's throwing a Q that hurts the backline minion, or an auto attack that just hurts the frontline minion. So I guess that's not too much of a concern. So that might be a good call out for best 16. I think you see he's already controlling bot side.
Yeah, well, meanwhile, though, Meteor invaded and took the red away, so we're back to our sort of vertical jungling style. However, 5 and best 16, they do not spot him out. There's deep vision once again by BLG in this top side, and Meteor getting back on track in this jungle.
It's really cool to see. The next dragon is going to be the Infernal Dragon, so it's already, they're starting early for that. But also, just because their composition naturally gives them strength in the bottom side, now that Chelly is well beyond level 6. So, Sejuani ulti, Chelly's ulti, and we're talking about best 16. They're all online, so it's going to be up to Meteor to really push this along quickly. If he's going to play through top lane, then commit to tower, because bottom lane's going to be suffering real soon.
Waiting for this minion wave to push out. ADD has control, and Ale will not be able to get near. And if he does, Meteor's going to come in. Level 6, remember. Even more so, let's just add 2 more numbers, level 8.
And ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know if he walked out of the bush and if he's been seen, because the visual bug is just hurting me right now. Let's just see how this turns out.
It's ADD is going to be hurt next. Lockdown, 3 members here. OMG take the fight, and BLG just have to say, Urgot, you dead.
Just tries to put down 1 ward. Just 1 ward, and somehow 5 is in the top lane. It's BLG saying, wait a second, I thought Road was gone, but the spirit is actually in 5.
Never die.
Yeah, he found that 1 chance. You already see Yasuo, who based and is now going back bottom lane, so that 1 opportunity that he had to make an impact definitely felt.
Well, this topside misery has amounted into Ale getting another kill. Now with a bounty on his head. You looked at how precious it was, the top side of the map for BLG, and it's just been flipped the other way.
I really like it. I mean, it gives OMG a new identity, like shedding the fact that last year was just an icon show. Now it's a lot of focus on Ale. Because, I mean, the fact that teams can't just throw 3 or 4 members at icon anymore and expect that to be a successful strategy gives more space to OMG on the map.
Yeah.
Especially if they still have continued faith in Chelly, bringing him back into the roster. They've been switching between Swan P and Chelly a little bit. Now the fact that they're bringing him into a big line. Oh, wait a second, before I finish my word.
Sleepy Trouble Bolt, Paddle Star Icon takes the engage. Meteor did not exist.
Yeah, couldn't press ulti. Everything hit him at the same time.
Oh! There's a flash forward there from Jin Jiao after the explosive cast. Ult for a summoner burn. OMG, just really bringing this back into contention.
Yeah, this is OMG's game suddenly. I mean, BLG had a great early game, but it's starting to slip away. ADD has to play under tower. Kuro, who has Cleanse, we were talking about if he's going to pick Ghost or TP, goes for the lane match of Cleanse, so if he gets Sleepy Trouble bubbles, he's alright. But if Icon's not even in his lane, then he really can't follow up.
It's been so quiet. Icon hasn't really made a move this game, and again, to that top side of the map, which is all we've been talking about. Icon gets that first kill, and suddenly multiple threats on the side of OMG.
And he's had perfect CS. I mean, 138 now at 13 minutes. He's been really doing well for himself. He can get to the Luden's mark fairly quickly, and then just help out bottom lane. So right now, in terms of just how OMG's laners are doing, very well.
Yeah, level 10 will have level 2 portal jump soon, but Ali, this is a change in matchup. Decides to riposte the other way. It might not matter. That's a free exhaust as Icon continues to get himself the spirit of summoners.
That feels good, doesn't it?
Always does. Icon pushes him out, able to push this wave up and move down towards that bottom side. Pings are going down from OMG to start up this Infernal Dragon, which, again, 10%.
And if you're just looking about BLG's positioning for this, it's non-existent. You don't have wards prepared for this. You can even see the engage ward per se if you're talking about OMG, if they have an option to stop whoever's trying to steal it above the terrain. They have that option too. It should just be very easy for OMG to pick this one up.
Now Mini has Solar Flare, but might not be there in time. Can't tag it with the Void Seeker, so Dragon over, but Solar Flare flashed away from by Chelly. The Zenith Blade as well. Icon taking the engage in the mid lane, but it's Kuro who starts it up. Almost takes down the iconic mid laner. BLG get nothing from the engage, but burn a flash.
I think Kuro was calling for the fight because of how deep Icon was playing in his lane. Ideally, if that had been prolonged a little bit more. He pushes Icon back with how low he was in HP.
Yep.
He can come in at a flank. But it was just a quick escape from OMG, so well done.
And they start up the fight on the top side of the map. OMG burn a flash of their own. They continue to get these repeat summoners down.
And you can even take a look at just the lanes responding to Best 16. Best 16 looks so good on the map because people have just been following up on him. It was Icon who was helping him earlier on. It was 5 that was following Best 16 and being able to take Dragon control. So far, I mean, even in that instance where he was getting the flash out of Meteor, it was Ale who moved with him. So I think right now, whoever is behind the team, helping them in scrims, doing a great job.
Yeah, the ability to coordinate this chain CC from OMG continues to come up well. We haven't really seen one of those Glacial Prisons layer down with the explosive cast combo just yet, but from BLG, what we just saw was that first turret going down. So although there are these ganks across the map from OMG, BLG still have that lane they're playing towards.
Just remember the fact that the bottom lane freed themselves, new lane arrangements, lane assignments. So Jin Zhao and Mini no longer are pretty much playing to the threat of Chelly and 5. So putting themselves mid lane, I think Kuro is going to move on up, but he has the option to be on side lanes at all times. This is a great move for BLG.
At this point, Raz, I say, what threat from Chelly and 5? That was a very passive laning phase from a Yasuo and Sejuani. And again, Jin Zhao and Mini have the option to move away from them, but there's still no threat.
Just always depends on how they use their time. It was OMG being a lot more passive, taking the Dragon, this time around moving towards the Rift Herald. BLG, the last time we saw them play up against LGD, challenged for this in a team fight. They are doing it again.
Teleport coming in, but they just lock down the jungler. Meteor has to ult, but he's still within range. Solar Flare burnt down as well. OMG getting engaged on in the backside. ADD launches the Fear Beyond Death, but for Mini goes golden. Rift Herald is still there, eventually gets taken down. The launch up there from the last breath, and OMG take the kill, take the fight, take the Rift Herald, and now want to take more lives. It's Jin Zhao locked down. Ale in, dies down eventually. BLG fighting underneath the turret. Kuro just deletes him. Icon jumps in as well, has a Proto Belt in the back mix, but ADD, the Korean import, stepping up big. BLG, it's a frisky one with OMG taking the Rift Herald.
It's both ADD and Kuro. Both players coming in hot because OMG thinks they can just go for a clean sweep. They still have a great team fight, but it was Kuro and ADD that stood firm.
Icon launches down, Sleepy Trouble Bubble. There is no Sanguine Pool, has a flash, but Icon knows the transfusion proc is there.
Well, Kuro has cleanse, so he was just saying, I'm going to take this damage. I don't really care too much. You know what, chill out. He's going to base now. He's going to have some time out. But at the very beginning, this is not a repeat of what BLG did to LGD. This is OMG in a really good position, taking down the Jin Zhao before he really had the chance to use his ultimate. And then they just gathered around the Fiora ultimate, so even after the first pick, they were healthy enough to take down Mini, move towards Jin Zhao. Really well done from OMG throughout the beginning of the team fight.
For BLG, they managed to turn it around. It was after this kill, after Ale pushed so far forward.
Yeah, Ale needed to calm down. I think that was the major issue that OMG had here. Very reminiscent. That was a big pop.
Yep.
Of how Snake versus FPX went. Because Snake should have taken that series based off of game 2, but they pushed too far forwards when they already had a great win. When you have a rookie like Ale, you gotta be able to reel him back in.
He wants to take another fight though. ADD, grand challenge upon him, but manages to force out with the help of Ghost. Summoner burnt there in the name of Flash, but could have been from the previous fight. So Ale moves back to red, and his Trinity Force is starting to do work. But
we got you surrounded, buddy.
Come out with your hands up, Ale says.
Oh, wait a second.
Bugger off, I don't care about the Popo. Ale walking away.
Ultium!
Fear Beyond Death used, but meanwhile in the mid lane, OMG turn this fight. They're committing so hard here for the top laner. OMG just say 2 for me, none for you.
1v3.
No grand challenge available, but with the movement speed from the passive, Kuro has to take him down. They're taking turrets. Rift Herald in the mid lane. Ale is still alive, Raz.
This is what goes on World Star Hip Hop. What's going on?
He just walks to the mid lane. The rest of OMG say, come join us. This turret's going to drop as well. And Bilibili Gaming showing some inexperience. The chase goes on way too long.
Honestly, at this point, I think Ale should just find a new job as a matador. That was really well done. 3 people just going straight towards him. I thought OMG were just going to say, okay, we'll sacrifice you for mid lane pressure. But then Ale just comes in and is like, what? I heard that. I'm fine. Don't even worry about me. That's everything on the map and then some.
He walked through 3 members, and in the end, OMG managed to get the Infernal Drake. Double Infernal from the back of this.
Another great start by Best 16. Blowing up Kaisa with a little bit of help from Chelly. I mean, at this point, there's just so much damage following up that 100% Leona is going to fall. And then, you know, we don't want to play it out too long. If we had the time, if we could stop time, I suppose, we can just talk about how FLICKR just danced around the map.
The 2 stars of OMG coming up massively. Icon has moved himself onto the front of that leaderboard with his massive bounty. He's closer towards Morellonomicon, but there are 2 items across the board just about to be finished on the map.
OMG is just able to finish so many items just because I think Gragas has been a priest. 7 assists of the 8 kills that they have.
Blessed be.
He's been giving it all to his beloved laners. 3 kills on an Icon, 3 kills on Ali in the top lane. So they're able to finish their Ludens and Triforce. Both of them are in a really great spot. You can just already see the Colonel's approving of what's happening with OMG.
Colonel's obviously Catholic maybe, but 76% towards OMG. And that, of course, Clement explained last night, that is statistics. That is based on what you see on Summoner's Rift and how the game is going. That is not a fan vote. So at 20 minutes in, the statistics don't lie, showing OMG with 20% extra damage from those Drakes.
I just want to see what the formula is. Clement was close to being able to explain what the special formula for that statistic was. But
It's like KFC.
Yeah.
You know, no one knows the secret herbs and spices.
It's sad. It's like Kane passive, honestly. I know that's getting changed, so I just hope that KFC follows up.
Oh, you got to add something to the mix, something a little bit more spicy. But Raz, Baron is up. Avert your attention to the top side here with OMG. Full vision control and Meteor struggling to get in, but he'll have to peek.
Double Infernal Dragon for OMG. Great vision control upside for OMG. Zhonya's Hourglass completed for best 16, who's been their primary form of engage.
Yeah.
They are so stacked right now, and I haven't even talked about the fact that Chelly's already completed his 2nd item of Steric's Gauge, so he wants to fight. He wants to get right in there.
Shift around from the bottom side for Chelly, especially since he's had that Steric's Gauge for at least 5 minutes now. And Ale still being persistent onto the bottom. ADD struggling a little bit here. The ability to get dove with that Trinity Force continues with their Ravenous Hydra, comes back forward for Ale.
Yeah, it's just sweat. Drips of SWAT right now for BLG dropping down because they are in a double, I would say, I guess time situation where right now it's Ale who's consistently pushing ADD in, chipping at the tower. You can see in the minimap that's just the case. There's not much ADD can do about that. But also Baron is a major threat, so they need vision on Baron, maybe picking a fight, but they'll be in a numbers disadvantage in doing so. TP is just being picked up by ADD. He's used his summoner, so he's going to have it. He's going to be ready for it. I think it's going to be a good time for BLG to look for a play around Xin Zhao.
They need to soon, because the way the game is going, with these waves getting pushed out, a lot of gold going over to OMG. If those top laners get into the fight right now, the advantage definitely to Ale. Ravenous Hydra picked up off that last back.
Wow.
And this is going to be serious.
The fact that he's gone towards Ravenous instead of Titanic means that he's going to stay in the side lanes a little bit more frequently. But remember, when she gets like 3 to 4 items, the sustain's good enough. She doesn't really care. She just jumps in for like the typical Fiora LPL team fighting. It's usually people are like, well, we picked the Fiora to never be in team fights. But you watch the LPL long enough, that's never the case.
They're going to fight. So when does he join? Teleport again, as mentioned before, is still up.
Next item that he wants is going to be Guardian Angel. So I do not want the Fiora to join team fights until she has a G on her back. Maybe if she goes towards Steric's Gauge, then once again, that's fine. But we'll have to see if that's how they want to play Ale out.
You can see that OMG delaying it till that point. Only Icon just poking out and getting the beefy members of BLG.
Ale's been rotating. Take a look at where he is in the minimap currently. Already getting pinged out, so they have a ward on him. He knows that the control ward is there, so he knows that he can't deal with it. Doesn't want to get surrounded again. He already played it out once.
Just does the do-si-do around the Baron, Dragon Pit and comes back bot.
But now he has information of where that control ward is. He's going to consistently push this one out, and BLG's 4 members have to move away from that red buff area, so he can just come right back and clear that out. So at that point, or at least even if he just wants to move away from it, and then come in at a flank when they're playing around Baron, OMG has so much control in how it should play out.
Also now with that said control, heading towards Baron, pings going out, but again, shifting towards the lesser known vision of BLG. The pick potential here from 5. Remember what can happen
Where
from
you going?
OMG. Onto Meteor, Sleepy Trouble Bubble.
Oh, no!
Doesn't ult. He's going to get destroyed. Ult's just in time, but Chelly comes in, smacks him down, and OMG get the pick they need to rush towards that big purple worm.
Yeah, 24 minutes in, easily, they can just walk it. Oh my
He's just
goodness,
landed another one. Icon, you're an animal. Meant to be a tank, but it doesn't feel that way.
Then who's there engaged for this, right? Who is BLG going to bring for this fight? OMG knows that they have nobody because Leon is going to have to go back to base. Suddenly, you have to bring in Kuro, and you're going to have to bring in Jin Zhao. That's not good enough to actually push them off.
Kuro's the only one in for now, and Icon's already pushed him off to half health.
Oh no.
Jin Zhao from the side. They back away from Baron, forcing the TP from ADD.
Yeah, that's going to be really detrimental to BLG. They either have to start up on the Baron because take a look at Ale all alone with 2 towers. He's going to take this one down easily, and he should move on to the next inner tower.
And if Meteor comes in, remember there's no ultimate from him. Ale has still got his in hand. Any 1v1 doesn't exist. There needs to be more members from BLG, and they're coming down.
This is the first test of BLG and how they can play out times in which they're in a deficit. This is the decision that they're making. Take down Ale once and for all.
Riposte available there, jumps away. Ale in the 1v3, doesn't block it in time. Grand challenge
Oh,
onto the
no.
jungler, flashes away. Solar Flare as well. Ale drops down. That's a big shutdown for BLG, but onto Baron is OMG.
I think they did it fast enough so they can't come in as a response. Vlad is already here. He needs to start this one early. Yeah, OMG doesn't want any part of this.
They're backing away for BLG, a massive pick. It's halted the aggression from OMG. They didn't do it quick enough.
It was just a good timing. I don't think there was a quick enough because for BLG, the fact that they took down Ale before the rest of OMG were in position for Baron, great, excellent. That was fast too, so they didn't want to drag it out any longer than they should have. So here we go.
But they can apply more pressure with that set pick. Will Best 16 take the launch in? Turret doesn't go down, but at least BLG, another elemental to spawn the next. You're hoping for an Infernal, but you get an Ocean.
I think they were pretty happy that it wasn't Infernal because they still don't have control of this game. It's still firmly in control of OMG. If that turns into a triple Infernal, then they're just really pulling themselves into a new fight. So it's actually really risky to pick up that Dragon, rolling the dice and seeing if the next one is going to be influential. Really, Meteor, what's going on here?
He's been picked out again. The rookie jungler from BLG. That's not the first time, and it might not be the last.
He needs to stop.
Well
One way
said,
or
Brad.
another,
Well
you
said.
need to learn your lesson. Your members are not with you. You cannot touch your camps until you have proper vision. Oh no, this is just a straight gang ready to actually jump on top of BLG.
Voidseeker was used to get some vision, and with that, OMG pushed back out into the mid lane. But we're getting later into the game. Death timers are scaling up, and Meteor, if he does that again, the Baron could be free. They could even just start it now.
This is the best chance OMG has right now. Look, take a look at Ale. He has the teleport completely freed up. Now can take this bottom lane tower in the same time. Here we go. BLG don't know what to do.
ADD doesn't have the summoner. BLG walk towards it. OMG are just playing with time as Ale heading back towards the bottom lane to threaten this inner turret. OMG, they're not making a decision either.
No, they are making a decision, but their call is to wait on Ale to take down the bottom lane turret. I think it is the wrong call. Most teams would just go for the Baron fight, use Ale to teleport, because it doesn't matter if you have a Fiora at this point. It's just a raw numbers advantage in a team fight that you've been winning consistently. It's not even going to be a 50-50. You hold that Baron at 3k HP, it's not even going to be in stealing range. You just pick the fights you've always been picking. I think it's just a really bad call for OMG to stall this one out.
But OMG, they've got to stick with the call that they've made, and Ale just going to keep farming it up, and hopefully at that 3-item point, things might change for OMG. The confidence might come forward a bit more, because it is a Sterix gauge towards that 3rd item rather than the GA.
And here's the thing. I mean, a lot of teams coming into this would say, you know what, OMG is making the right call. They're making the NA call of just saying, hey, slow as possible. We have control. Doesn't matter if it's a 25-minute game or a 40-minute game as long as we play discipline. But that's the key word, discipline. We haven't seen discipline from Ale so far in the 28 minutes that we've seen play. He's already been picked off the first time. The longer Baron stays on the map, one key mistake throws everything up in the air. BLG can just play it safe. Meteor has another chance to not make a mistake, and they can try and find a pick off of Mini's engage.
The potential of that
He's
mistake
here.
now comes forward. Baron started again. This one feels a bit more real. Everyone is on top.
Yeah, Ale is here. ADD has made the wrong call. He doesn't know that Ale's been moving to the top lane. This should be a free Baron.
They've faked it that many times. It will be spotted out at 4K, but is it too late? Icon on zoning patrol. Chelly getting caught out. There's the Cat in range. Jumping back in. Never mind. Baron by OMG. They have to run away. This fight does not look good for them. Mini flashing forward. Zenith's blade onto Ale. He drops down before he can get the grand challenge proc. They all flash away. And OMG on escape duty. It's one pick for BLG at the cost of Baron.
There we go. I mean, that's a fine sacrifice. Ale recognizes he ain't gonna live for long, so he moves away from his team. Now it's gonna be OMG. Sure, flash off of best 16, but he has a Baron buff. 4-member have it, and they can just rush down mid lane the moment they regroup.
Raz, I think this game has already delivered though. It's a 4K gold lead for OMG, but to get to this point, it has been a bit of an adventure. At 30 minutes in, Baron on 4 members, OMG now should have that confidence to push forward, which is why this game is delivered in a sense, is because we're not sure of what the outcome's going to be.
Yeah, because in the back of your mind, you still think that Jinjiao and especially Kuro have that chance. We're just looking at OMG's composition as a whole. Who's their true tank? You would say it's actually just the Sejuani, their support. Because if you're saying Gragas to me, he's full AP. Full AP Gragas, 30-40 minutes into the game, falls off like a brick. Not enough damage to deal something critical to the bruisers of the team.
Oh no.
They might find this pick once again.
Meteor again. Oh, does he have time to ult? Not this time, an explosive cast with Zhonya's. That's a great solar flare, but BLG cannot follow up. Sleepy Trouble Bubble again zones off and tags onto ADD. He manages to dash away just in time, but the pick potential of Icon now is the biggest threat to BLG.
You just have to get out of these corridors. There's a Zoe just looming over. Stop it. Actually leave, by the way.
It's happened again. At least ADD can dash away, and he's tanky enough to avoid this one hit.
Let's take a look at his items, though. A lot of it is just for armor. I mean, he has a Thorn's Mail, and he's going to be probably going in towards the Righteous Glory to deal with the AD threats, especially Fiora. So he doesn't have enough to deal with the Zoe, especially once she has her Void Staff soon enough.
And Icon can keep poking his head here into ADD. We haven't actually seen a direct shot onto the Urgot from the Zoe, but I'm sure we will soon. Ale, again, the true damage is there, and that's what you want to see from your mid lane Zoe.
That's the damage I was talking about. ADD finally felt it, so he respects it. I think for the rest of the game, ADD is not going to be making that call.
Or he might just be building Magic Resist from now on. Has the Spectre's Cowl, but it's not enough to make the difference. And BLG, they hold against these Baroned up minions in multiple lanes, but Ale is such a big split push. Thresh, what's the word I'm looking for? Threat right now that it's hard to deal with.
Yeah, and even Icon double teaming with him. So good call for BLG. A lot of them are leaning towards the mid lane, but then your eyes dart towards where the mid lane threat's coming from. It's a lot of members trying to take this tower. I think they have it.
Just with the cannon minion alone, multiple lanes again.
Uh-oh.
Meteor
slow from Zin.
That's a flash away by Chelly from the Solar Flare ultimate for the summoner, but for BLG they need more.
Suddenly you're seeing the risk that OMG's comp has. No one has the range necessary to walk up to the towers. No AD carry in tow. They have to win a real team fight so they can take down these turrets. And BLG are doing a great job of defending.
Taking the team fight on their own terms or not taking it at all seems to be the choice. Even getting the procs on the passive from Fiora is not enough.
I think the best call would be going up to OK or this.
It's Meteor again who's been caught out. Doesn't have a chance to ult, but they can't get in. The Gragas burned down. Full AP forces the jungler out. Now Raz, they couldn't get up to the turret before, but with a 4 versus 5, maybe now's the chance.
A lot of people here. They're just waiting on 5 to just throw in the Sejuani ultimate.
Kuro AoE with Tides of Blood, the passive from the true shot. Not this time.
What I wanted them to do was lean towards the top side a little bit more heavily because they had 2 to 3 minion waves piling up towards this top lane tower. Vladimir is going to get all of that. He already has his Morellonomicon, Poto Belt, and Rabadon's Death Cap. He's going to add so much more CS on top of that. I think they made a crucial mistake in going towards the Dragon instead of piling on top of that wave so they can not only take down that tower, move into the inhibitor tower, but then deny the wave so Kuro doesn't pick it all up. BLG's composition reminds me of BLG 2 years ago when they had Athena. And Athena was picking up Vladimir pretty consistently, and they were known as that 45-minute team that would just win off the back of some insane miracle team fights off of amazing J engages and the Vladimir nonsense that he outputs. That's the real situation that right now BLG is starting to dance with.
And even then, when you compare Athena to Kuro, you say that Kuro is probably the more reliable mid laner in this situation. For BLG, the experience has been leveled up a couple of times, and now that Kuro has those 3 items. That transfusion proc is just going to be huge if they can lock down Icon.
And to be clear about Kuro as a player, I don't understand people downplaying his strengths. Because sure, he had a bad tournament at Worlds, but consistently in the regular seasons, Kuro comes in as an MVP candidate.
Just talking about him, Grand Challenge onto the Vladimir. Ale still a bigger threat with true damage in hand.
And he's going to have to deal with a lot, though, just because of how much pressure. This should be a free tower now.
This should open up the confidence for OMG. Finally, turret drops down. Inhibitor is open, but OMG can't get any more.
Yeah, so it seems like BLG are going to draw the line on that inhibitor. If OMG... Oh, actually, Meteor,
I'm not even sure you need to ult if you're Ale. Grand Challenge is not in hand, but ultimate used by Meteor.
Yeah, you can already see how much Ale is doing. They're just going to press. I don't know. There's not a lot of members here. What are you doing?
That's a one-man solo.
What are you doing,
Mini just
Mini?
flashes forward. Hang on. Here's a re-engage with Sphere Beyond Death onto Best 16. Goes golden to timeout the chem drill. Icon on the backside. It's a messy team fight, but onto one front. Chelly free hitting in the front and right in the back. Icon has been taken down, but Ale's having the time of his life. It's the beach party, and he didn't need to bring his beach ball this time around. All you need is Ale in the front line. All you need is love onto EDD. He has nowhere to go. Grand Challenge there, and Ale doesn't need flash. This could be it.
You can even see 5 chasing him off. There's no way he can hold on to the minion wave, and he's not going to be able to defend the Nexus that's about to be taken down. Crucial victory for OMG here.
And for OMG, we
it.
had questions as to stop onto ADD. That'll just secure it even more. Teleport being burnt here from ADD, but with the challenge and Chelly being low, it was stopped again by 5. OMG will take game 1, but boy, was it close.
Welcome to the Ale show. That was so fun to watch because I gave that, late game hope, maybe you can hit it at 40, maybe you can defend, but you can't stop the Fiora constantly out trading you, shifting at the tower, 0 respect. It's so fun to see that it's not just about Icon anymore for OMG.
It took time for Ale to get there, but as you said, Raz, those 3 items made all the world of difference. As soon as that Sterix gauge was picked up, more from OMG in taking this Baron, more from OMG and taking some of these later fights. Ale seems to be stepping up each and every game, and this time it's against BLG. It's a realistic matchup.
You can see how the scrims have been going well for them because with the Camille performance that we were able to get, Jack's performance, give him Fiora again. The team, there's so much freedom here for OMG. They're allowing so much freedom for the players to pick what they feel is best, and so for Fiora, especially with how the last game is going, he was able to deliver going up against ADD.
That same freedom was important though for Icon moving back to the mid lane against Kuro, the star matchup. Icon came out trumped by about 10,000 damage.
Feels good, man.
Feels very good. On the Zoe as well, mind you, we talked a lot about how the Vladimir could scale out of control, and that never seemed to happen.
Yeah, because he was always chained underneath his tower, and I think the major issue that he found for himself is they always try to look for a fight. I think that you saw as an evidence of the last fight where Mini really forced the call, drawing the line there for whatever reason. I thought that it was pretty messy. They didn't have much control, and the members weren't there. They were kind of piling in one after another, and then Ale just flanked through. So I don't think the Vladimir pick will come in again because I think Kuro really needs to have control of that early.
I think as well Kuro will look at that and say, right, how do we change his composition up a little bit? The Galio, from memory, was left or at least banned away. From my memory, so poor.
The Galio was left up for a while, but it was mostly OMG that was just saying that you can pick your Galio, do it, because a lot of us is just going to be focusing on the 1-3-1. The Fiora and the Yasuo did very well in the matchup, so BLG chose not to go into it.
Well, they almost didn't do well in the matchup. OMG's bottom lane got shut down, or at least prevented from getting ahead early with the Kai'Sa first blood. It all changed around. The fact that Jin Zhao didn't get out of control was a big surprise to me.
Yeah, Jin Zhao, I think he tried his hardest. I think that he had a really good early game, not getting threatened, even pushed himself mid lane, got himself out of the laning phase. He wasn't allowed to play the game. I think that was the major story for BLG. Not allowed to play a game. Kuro wasn't allowed to play a game. They're going to try and find a more early game focus going into game 2.
OMG were allowed to play the game in their own arena as well. That was only game 1. See if the fans can rival behind them in game 2 coming up.